Doesn't faze me. Go ahead. What else do you have on your list there?
I got a long list here. Well, let's see. Well, I got American Nazi Party here.
I see that.
And what I was thinking about is if this was 1938.
Is it the Young Republicans kind of like the American Nazi Party?
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking.
Okay,
you know, I mean, because
I can relate.
Conservative means, at least the way this government, the Bush administration expresses it, is that we don't believe in the Bill of Rights and we don't believe in the Constitution. We just believe in the rights of the very wealthy. And the very wealthy can do and say anything they want, and the rest of us we're just little peons, you know, that maybe go and do little work for them
like
here
the
or there.
serfs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyhow.
Well, fascism is alive and well.
Apparently.
The way I see it. What else do we have on our list here?
Well, I keep coming back to this thing. I would think that the president would be more than happy to call a Marine recruiter and have his daughters sign up. Get over there and maybe they can be Humvee
They
drivers
haven't
or
even
something.
visited. They haven't even carved a plastic turkey like their father did.
You know, silly me. I should have remembered. They're probably following his role model when he was in the military, and that
You
was
mean
when there was
drinking
a warring
and
kid.
Okay,
Right,
Mr. AWOL.
Right.
Or they're practicing on their drinking and their
Substances.
cocaine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What?
I know it's been rumored that, remember when he was choking on a pretzel, that he was really like drinking or whatever. Because, come on, choking on a pretzel.
Well, nothing he does amazes me anymore. I'm desensitized.
We're all numb. It's just like Novocaine. Just pass the Novocaine. I might try taking one call.
Well, go for it.
Let's see.
Hello?
Hello there.
Hi, I was just calling to say, if this was a fascist government, would you really have the show you do? Would you be allowed to say what you would? If he was a dictator, he wouldn't let you talk how you were. He would just basically just slap you down, slap the show down. There would be no public access. You would just be shut down.
Well, they've been trying to shut us down for some time, actually.
But if they're as bad as you say they are, and they're
Ron
trying to shut you
DeStorms
down,
is always trying to shut down public access.
if they were trying to, don't you think they could? They're the government. They control everything. Apparently, to you, we have tortured things in Europe, so why can't we torture you in America? Oh, come on. Where do you get your information about the torture camps in Europe?
How about in the newspaper?
How
about our government even admits that our CIA has these secret prisons throughout Europe that we take people to? That's true. I didn't make that up.
AP. The Nation.
Yeah, well, I've never seen one of these things in the newspaper.
Do you read the newspaper?
Well, I'll try to dig up the article and I'll cut it out and give it to Chyrisse. You call in next
Times,
week.
Tampa Tribune.
Yeah.
I see stuff all the time.
It's an article.
CBS
Show it on your
News.
paper. Show it. Okay, and if I see it, I'll believe you. But still,
That's a reasonable request, though. You should ask for backup on stuff. I respect that.
yeah. You've done. Some stuff I can see having proof. But there's other stuff on your show where.
Go to www.truthat.org. Go to www.thenation.org.
I could go to a website.
There's
I can
a
make
lot
it myself and say stuff is the truth. Just because it's a website does not mean it's true. I actually want to see full proof. I don't want to see stuff that's like.
Do a search on CNN.com.
Has to be.
I'm giving sources.
CNN. Would you trust them?
And then
MSNBC.
I've watched your show before, and you're always saying. Only, all this stuff you say about the war and stuff, every time I try to call you, usually end up hanging up on me because I don't agree with you usually, but, it's like...
probably because you're making a noise. We usually get people prank calls.
No, I've never prank called, and every time I call, I end up getting hanged up on early. I don't know.
Well, we're not hanging up on you right now, so what do you have to say?
Well, you're a dick.
Okay, there we go.
See, there we go. Technical difficulties because... obviously, you're not reading the newspaper because if you did, you would see all these things. That's why. We do have a lot of sources here we can cite with information. Yeah, do that. How are we doing on time, Tracy?
10 minutes.
10 minutes to go.
All right, what time we got here? All right.
What else could we talk about? Well, a couple things.
What about Cuba? Didn't you have some things you wanted to discuss about Cuba?
I know when I came on with my Che Guevara shirt, boy, stirred up the storm here in Tampa Bay. And Bob, you've been to Cuba.
Yes, I have.
Tell us
Twice,
about it.
actually.
And do you think we should open the doors to trading? Do you think we should stop this 40-year embargo?
Well, you know, you have to look at history a little bit. Right after the Cuban Revolution, Fidel actually came to the United States and asked us for aid. He didn't go to the Soviet Union. And we were really aggravated because he threw our big corporate interests out of that country, and we told him pretty much to go to hell, and the Soviet Union was standing there with money in their hands. We made our, at the time, what our foreign policy nightmare, we made it come true. We do that all the time. When I was in Cuba, the people were proud. They're poor. It's a very poor nation, but the people were proud.
We're going to be that way.
They have better medical coverage than we have.
Education.
And they were very friendly and open folks. I mean, I'm not saying that it doesn't have problems, because it does have problems. But, you know, if Cuba had an election tomorrow and Castro ran against someone else and he didn't get the most votes cast, but if they had an electoral college that gave him the election anyhow, we would go nuts over that. And we would talk about how terrible that
Banana
their
Republic.
system is.
Banana
But
Republic.
that's just what we did in this country. And you know, I don't think, I think there's problems in Cuba, but I've been there, and the people were pretty decent, really good folks.
Have you heard that Fidel wants to drill for oil not far from the Keys?
I saw an article that I did not read. I just saw the headline
There's something
on that.
about that, you know, which could affect us. I mean, all the, you know, the oil rigs. And it's been said that they're trying to drill not for oil off of Florida, but natural gas now. And that means we get to see rigs out there floating around. Woo, great for tourism.
It's a serious issue,
Yeah.
and right now our oil company president is, and our oil company Congress is actually promoting exploration of oil off the coast of Florida. We've been able to, our state legislature has been able to
Fend it off
fend
for
it
a while.
off, but I don't
And
know
when they
how
do
long.
that exploration, they use the sonar, and that's how we need our beach dolphins up on the, up on, like recently in Africa, they found a bunch of like 400 beach dolphins because, you know, they can't take the sonar.
Right.
And, you know, also, I know my mother and I were talking about this. I think it was in The Nation. In Alaska, you know, we think all this drilling and all this, they have all these, you know, drill rigs, whatever, up there. They don't give the fuel to us. They sell it to like China, I think, and Russia and
Oh,
other places.
really?
And I didn't know it, but Alaska doesn't have a sales tax. Did you hear that?
I don't think they do.
Isn't
Alaska
that
does
weird?
not.
How the heck do they run their government if they don't have a sales tax?
They get revenues from the oil. I think every barrel
Well,
of oil is produced, they get something from that.
Also, every citizen gets like $800 some dollars or some figure a year just for the right of drilling up in Alaska. So the people want to have the drilling up there because they get their kickbacks.
Right. Right. There's not a lot of people there. I've been to Alaska. It's pretty small. It's a huge state with a very small population.
High cancer with the Aleutians, I know that from all the problems, but I didn't realize the sales tax and all that. They didn't
Yeah.
have a sales
Yeah.
tax. So, interesting thing. Here we are. We want to go up to Alaska and drill and pollute, but we're not even going to be the ones benefiting from the fuel.
Well, the answer, of
Chinese
course, is to wean ourselves from the oil nipple and
Absolutely.
figure out a different technology.
And we have the technology, they just don't want to do it. I mean, there's wind power, there's solar, hydrogen fuel cells.
Well, there's still money to be made selling petroleum, and I think that's the issue.
Even buying ethanol from Brazil, like I said.
Well, and that's been suggested, but we have put a tariff on it that makes it not competitive with ethanol.
It's like we outsource our jobs to these third world countries, and then they put a tariff on us, you know. So it's just we're the losers here, all the way around. It seems.
Well, we have an opportunity in November to start turning this thing around, and I encourage everyone to get out and vote. It's important. Unless you like the way things are. If you like the way things are, fine. You should probably sign up and go over to Iraq and help out. You know,
help the democracy over there.
I've talked to several soldiers who've come back, and they didn't like it there for a second. And maybe if you support the president's policies, you could sign up and you could replace somebody over there who doesn't want to be there.
Oh. A lot of the soldiers, they're not even letting them come home, and they're bringing them out of retirement just to go over there. And I was talking to a woman, she knows of someone who they brought out of retirement, and he was in the Navy, and they put him in the Army. I didn't know that they could do that, switch branches of service, which is like, wow. So, well, it's been a quick hour, hasn't it? There's been so much. 3 minutes to go. There's been so much to talk about. It's just we didn't even get into the environmental stuff so much because there's so much as far as current events go.
But what was it in the paper about the developers are writing some of the endangered species regulations in the state of Florida?
They know so much and they care so much about manatees and gopher tortoises and stuff, so they're just helping.
It's just...
That was today's paper. Can you believe that?
You know, I didn't get to read the entire thing, but at least on the surface, it sounds like an awfully dangerous precedent.
I think so. And they've been doing the mercury studies with ibises. Did you read about that too?
No.
They want to build a coal-burning power plant up in Gainesville, and they've been there's a 5-year study where they're exposing ibises to mercury to see what would happen to them. Now, haven't we shown biomagnification and bioaccumulation with mercury?
Sure.
I mean, look at the tuna, you know. Do we have to subject these poor birds to more studies just to put a coal-burning power plant there?
Well, and the thing about coal-burning power plants, there's about 300 of them in the country, and they produce 40% of the carbon dioxide pollution in the atmosphere.
Which affects global warming.
It affects global warming.
We got to go see. Al Gore has that movie coming out this summer.
I'd love to see it.
I know, that global warming movie. 1 minute. We just saw yesterday that Thank You for Smoking movie. Have you seen that yet?
No.
Oh, it is talk about sarcasm and everything. How anybody could sell anything. And I kept thinking about the press secretaries for Bush. I mean, they had, was it Ari Fleischer or whatever, and then Scott McClellan, and now it's Tony Snowjob. I mean, nobody wants that job because you have to make something crappy look good, put a spin on it. That's a hard job.
I think the happiest man in Washington is Scott McClellan because he doesn't have that job anymore.
Exactly. I mean, that's the same thing as saying good things about Bush would be like, you know, saying smoking is wonderful for the health.
Well, I think there's some good things you could say about him. I mean, his tie matches his suit, and that's something you could say, and he knows which way to sit in a chair.
Well, thank you for watching. We'll be back next Friday night. It'll be Tracy and I on the show.
Public access is an extension of our First Amendment right of free speech. Community members like you produce the programs on this channel and are solely responsible for content.